All right, everybody, welcome back to Earth Science, and welcome back to more relative humidity and dew points. Thanks for sticking with it. Don't burn out yet. We got a little bit more practice. Hopefully, you're getting better and better at this, and we'll move on with our lives. This will probably be the last bit. I'm going to make it a little harder today, and I'm thinking this will be the last bit we do before Christmas break. We'll make sure everybody's caught up with the basic methods here. I'll do a quick classwork quiz, like as per usual, and then we'll do the lab after break with one of the classes we talked about trying to cram it in before, but the overwhelming vote there was after, so you fish your wish. We'll do it after break. But to do it, we really got to have this method down. I mean, there's no way to do. Just like this is one of those things it's the hill we got to climb. There's no way to get through it without understanding these things. So if you did not make it through this section of the notes, if you were not able to figure these things out, we got to go there first. Don't start today's stuff, because today says, okay, now that you've done that and you get that and you could do it, let's take the next step and make it a little bit harder. So what I'm going to do is say either go back to that video, or in the survival guide, I'm going to post a couple other videos of other people doing it in case you don't like my voice and little face down here. I don't blame you. And yeah, so you're doing your good job. Stick with it. These circumstances, everybody, are crazy. Hope they're not getting you down too bad. So let me say what you're going to see today that's going to up the ante a little bit. What if I were to say that the dry bulb temperature, all right, I'll write it over here. I probably should have set it up ahead of time. dB for dry bulb is 16. Now what you're used to is that I would then give you a wet bulb. You would put the dry bulb over here, you'd subtract and put that number at the top, see where they meet, and you're good to go. Just miss. But what's going to happen, and what the Regents loves to do, is they make sure that you know how to work this table by making you do some problems backwards. And I gave you a little taste of that yesterday with I gave you the depression, then you just subtract. No big deal. But here's where it might get harder. Let's say that they said, what if the dry bulb or plain old air temperature was 16 and the dew point was 9? All right. Now, the people that mess that up, here's what they're going to do. They're going to say, okay, 16, and then the difference between 16 and 9 is 6, and they're going to go up there and they're going to meet them. The problem is that's how you do it if I gave you a wet bulb temperature, but that's not what I gave you. I gave you a dew point. So what you have to do is say, the deal is always plug in what you know. The numbers you get in the question will get you to your answer as long as you know how to work these tables. So here's how you would do it. You know that the dry bulb is 16. That's given to you. Now I gave you a dew point value. So the dew points, which are all the numbers on this table, is 9. So there it is. Now we got to work backwards. In this circumstance, that would mean that the wet bulb depression is 4. Now, here's another place where people make mistakes. Remember that first day that we started all this, I sat there by the sink and I said, what do you feel when water evaporates? What temperature experience do you have? And it's that you feel cold, you feel chilly, like you get the shivers when water's evaporating off your skin. When water evaporates, temperature drops. So if it was 16 outside and it dropped by 4, that would mean that our wet bulb, now we figured this out, is 4 less than 16, so it's 12. And then all of a sudden it kind of looks like a regular problem that you've done before, right? Our wet bulb depression, as we figured out, is 4. And then you could come down here and say, okay, if it's 16 and 4, I should draw as I've been doing. 16 puts us in that white row right there. 4 puts us in this column, so I'll draw that one down because it's nice and easy to erase. And it looks like the humidity then will be 62. Okay, so we can do that in any sort of complicated order. Maybe I'll give you just a, here's another good one. Let's do it with the humidity table down here. Maybe I'll give you just a depression and a value, which I'm going to. I say maybe, but it's definitely on the classwork you're doing today. Wet bulb depression is 6. And relative humidity, RH, is, how about 59? And that's percent. Again, in that worksheet you did, I labeled all the columns so you don't have to stress about labels while typing because it's a real pain. Okay, what would I do in this circumstance? Again, what things do you know? Wet bulb depression is the difference between wet bulb and dry bulb. We know that. It's 6. I'm also going to try to find an isolated page 12 and stick it into that assignment. Stick it onto the survival guide anyway. I meant to do that the other day. I couldn't find one. So I'm in 6, and I got to look and look and look and look until I find a relative humidity of 59. There it is. So now the conditions that I know are a thing because of the question are highlighted. I got to figure everything else out. So in this set of circumstances, at 59, the dry bulb temperature, and again, I just went like this. I just went boom, 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 boom. That means that the dry bulb temperature is 28. dB is 28. What else do I know? 28, it went down by 6. So my wet bulb is 22. What else do I got to know? Dew point at the values 28 and 6. Come on back up here. 28 and 6. And your call whether you want to keep on drawing these lines. A lot of people get used to it, but it's easy to like accidentally cross over by 1. And like I said yesterday, it's also easy to forget that there's a 0 sitting there. So don't count. That always screws people up. At 28 and 6, my dew point would be 19. All right. So pretty much as long as you have any 2, you're good. You can figure everything else out. The one that's really mean that I have on a worksheet somewhere, but I'm not going to give to you this year, would be what if I gave you just a dew point and a relative humidity? You'd have to like find the one place on the graph where the two numbers are exactly the same. It's like if I made it, what is there a dew point of 1 and a relative humidity of 16? It'd be that spot, and then you can figure everything else out. But that's mean. We don't need to do that, right? So as long as, again, take the 2 things you're given, put them on this chart. The place where it's going to get uncomfortable is if you didn't really nail yesterday's stuff. And that's why I'm saying if you didn't get yesterday's stuff, you got to go back and watch those videos and really slowly practice those, or watch the other Earth Science teachers' videos and slowly practice how to figure those things out. If you do that, the next step is easy. You can't really go from like step 1 to step 10 on this. We got to figure out incrementally as we go. All right, hang in there, folks. We're all in this together. Keep it up.